So why is e-gaming growing in global popularity? Helping provide insight into this topic is Zak Dychtwald. He's author of the book Young China, How the Restless Generation Will Change Their Country and the World. Zak, thanks for joining us. Were you surprised that video games made it into the Asian Games? And what does this say about its popularity and the power of youth?
I wasn't surprised at all. I think China is a great example of just how strong the millennial mindset is globally. In China alone, you have 400 million millennials. And within China, there are over 800 million people currently using the internet. Now, if you take just the scale, that's impressive. But then within China, you also have to consider cultural fit. South Korea showed us that a study-centric society is particularly well-suited for online gaming and mobile gaming. Now, China, with its scale, has fit perfectly into that. When they're spending most of their time as kids in the study hall preparing for the Gaokao, it's a more intuitive push than basketball, a more intuitive push than soccer, to go into the internet bar and play with their friends. So a lot of this identity formation is actually happening online for millennials in China right now.
And Team China dominating their esports competitors actually beat the South Koreans in a lot of these categories. Just your take on that. I mean, that kind of goes with what you're explaining, right? I mean, a good match from different sides.
Well, it's also a point of national pride in China. You know, when you consider China's rise in all parts of the economy, the ability to gain global recognition, with soccer in particular recently, there's been a lot of jokes made about the Chinese national teams. But in the area of mobile sports, in the area of esports, this represents a large opportunity that the government is recognizing to back national champions and gain honor, as you know, to use some e-speak, in the international stadium.
So we know that China is hosting the next Asian Games. This time around, it was just an exhibition sport. But what's the possibility of seeing it become an actual, I don't want to say legitimate sport, but the possibility of seeing real medals being awarded for this and even getting into the Olympic Games?
You have to consider relevance for the audience. The National Basketball Association NBA Finals this last year had about 10 million viewers. Last year's World Championship for League of Legends, the live stream in China had 100 million viewers. Now, the javelin just isn't that relevant anymore. A lot of people would rather see League of Legends.
So what is it about esports that makes it so popular? Asia makes up about half of the global gaming market. Do you see this growing even more? Why are people so into it?
For the millennial population in general, the internet bar has long been an escape from the study room, as well as the intergenerational household back home. So for young people, since they were kids, since they were leaving school as young children, they were heading to the internet bar, paying a few renminbi, and being able to play for hours with their friends. Now, particularly with that study-centric Confucian style of education, it's more intuitive to go online and play video games than to go outside and play video games. We've seen that in Singapore, we've seen that in South Korea, and the scale of China makes it unique and frankly unprecedented in the world of esports.
What about the money involved? I know with these particular games, they're saying that some of the athletes outside make up to $1 million. I mean, are you surprised by that and just the growing industry, the money involved here?
It's not surprising when you consider how they make money. I mentioned that statistic around just the amount of people who are watching these games. So for advertisers, this is sort of a dream come true. Google recently invested $120 million in Chushou, a Chinese online gaming platform. Alibaba has committed $150 million to online gaming. This is a trend that we're going to see. It's not just a flash in the pan. It's something we're going to continue to see as young people are continuously willing to go online for issues of identity, for socialization, and to get their entertainment.
All right, Zak Dychtwald in New York, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.